of sports.
Welcome to The Playbook, where we're talking sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Mina Say What, and we're 100% digital, 100% live, and 100% real. Let's count them down. Welcome to The Playbook. It's our digital sports show. We go live every Monday at 1:45 on our social pages at R&B Philly on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Fresh off my vacation, we are excited about the things that have happened in the past week. I want to bring in my brother, sportscaster and podcaster, Sean Bell on. Sean,
What's up?
Called you, text you during my vacation to talk about Sixers talk, but I had to restrain myself.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Ain't gonna be no Sixers talk. Ain't gonna be no anything talk during vacation. All right.
Look, the beard is here. Okay. I didn't think they were going to start him at an away game, but they did. So I felt like calling you, but I didn't. I saved it for the show. But you do see my jerseys here, right?
Yep, you got one more to get.
I got to get one more. It's too expensive, though. Okay. Apparently, the James Harden jersey is the most sought after jersey right now in the league, and it is expensive. So I'm going to wait for it to come down some, okay? Let's talk about the very exciting phase that they are calling the Harden era in Philadelphia. For the second straight game during the Harden era, our Sixers got this W with James Harden leading the way. It happened yesterday against the Knicks, Madison Square Garden, a final score 125-110. So, 109, excuse me. So, what did you notice about this game? Because I felt uncomfortable when the game first started. I was happy with our strong finish. There's definitely a lot of things that need to be worked out. What were your observations here?
I mean, James Harden and Joel Embiid fit perfectly together. That's the observation. Listen, they faced two bad teams. Let's not get it twisted. The Timberwolves and the Knicks are teams not functioning well. They're playing worse than they did at the beginning of the season. So it's two nice warm-up games to have, right? Like when you got a new player and a new squad and a new starting lineup, it's nice to start off soft. And they started off strong with those two individuals. So I love what I'm seeing out of those two and just the assists that James Harden's are able to give to not only Joel Embiid, but Tyrese Maxey, right? He's telling Tyrese exactly what to do. Tyrese is listening and getting it done. I mean, shooting over 60% in his first two games with James Harden is Tyrese Maxey. So it looks good so far.
I agree. There were these conversations in Philadelphia about whether they would be able to play together. They're both ball dominant. You know, a lot of the naysayers, I was definitely pleased that Joel and James seem to have like this chemistry right off the bat. Same thing between James Harden and Maxey. And he creates space, right? That's what I've noticed. Like you have to either double team a James Harden or double team a Joel Embiid, right? So that creates space for the rest of the guys to kind of fill in the gaps and do things. So I really like how he creates this space and almost makes it easier for other guys to get buckets. Now, did you notice Tobias Harris being lost in the sauce? Because it was very apparent in these past two games. He scored 12 points this past game and then 6 points in the previous game. Do you think this is a problem or it's just a kink that needs to be worked out?
It's a kink, but it's going to take a long time to get out. Like it's going to be continuous. Lay off of Tobias a little bit, okay? This is a hard situation to deal with, right? Like you have two ball-dominant individuals in Joel Embiid and James Harden who take up the ball most of the time, and now Tobias has to sit and wait and figure out where he fits in, especially when they're favoring Tyrese Maxey over him. So now he's like, okay, when am I going to get the ball? Am I going to get the ball? He's never in a rhythm. It's always hard for the third and fourth option to get used to something like this. Like, remember when Chris Bosh was with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, and he looked totally lost? Yeah. And Chris Bosh is a far better player than Tobias Harris ever was. And it took him forever to figure out how to play with two ball-dominant individuals. The same thing when Kevin Love played with Kyrie and LeBron. The third guy, the fourth guy in a ball-dominated offense is going to take a long time to figure out where he fits. So it's going to take Tobias a while to figure out, hey, when do I get the ball? When do I get the touches? When am I going to get the rhythm, especially if you keep giving it to Tyrese? And don't be surprised if Tyrese Maxey goes through some of the same stretches Tobias Harris is going through right now. Because when the playoffs come and things get tight, all of a sudden Tyrese may not get the ball as many times as he thought. He may get 16 shots one game and then 7 shots the next game. I never worried about Joel Embiid and James Harden playing well together because you knew they were going to get the ball and be able to do whatever the hell they wanted to.
Okay.
It's the other guys that's going to take some time to get a rhythm, especially the guys who need the ball to play well. So lay off him a little bit. Much better players have struggled when they had to deal with these similar type of situations.
I hear you. I just think there's been a frustration with Tobias even before the situation with his inconsistency. And it's crazy to think that literally the same time last year, we were campaigning for him to be an all-star. And now he absolutely looks lost in the sauce. So I get what you're saying. I hear you. I am going to give it some time. I do think, however, with him being a veteran, you know, I would like to see him be a little bit more present. And I feel like he's getting lost in these games.
He's got to adjust like everybody else. Chris Bosh was a veteran. Kevin Love was a veteran. They looked absolutely lost. You can't all of a sudden throw him in and say, because last year when we were campaigning, what was he?
He was a big three
player. You allowed him to be dominant. You said, hey, you go get the ball, do whatever you want and get a rhythm. Now this year you're saying, okay, Tobias, now you're barely ever going to get the ball. Maybe before you get 17 shots a game, now you get 7 or 8 shots a game. And we're not going to tell you when you get the ball. You just got to be surprised when you get it and then do something with it. Like, it's hard. It's harder than y'all think. And it's not Tobias's fault that he got a max contract.
Right. That's the other issue. The amount of money that we're paying him for him to put up 6 points.
If the Playbook offered me $3 million a show, I'm supposed to turn it down? No, it's RB Philly's fault for giving me that money, not my fault.
All right, what are the apparent weaknesses? Because the thing that scared me about the initial trade is happening. Do you see it?
What, in regards to not having the depth? Like, that's, you know,
and the height in the second team.
It's the depth, it's the rhythm, like it's the other guys, right? So
right,
Steph Curry would have been great for this team because he can sit in the corner and just wait for it.
Right.
That's not what Tobias does, right? So I think that's going to be the struggle when you get into the playoffs and all of a sudden it's half court basketball and then it's not just slash and go and up and down all the time. Guys like Tyrese are going to struggle a little bit. Tobias is going to struggle a little bit. And that bench, you don't have an instant offense, microwave, Lou Williams style of player. So it's, you know, you're going to have some struggles there, and your big two are going to just have to overcome that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, because even with the second team, we don't have the height that we once had. You know, it's the guys coming off the bench are not very tall. They're trying to figure it out. The second team looks a hot mess. So Doc has to and his coaches have to figure out, you know, how to make this all gel and work. But I'm very excited about where we could be with this. Don't you agree?
Of course. I mean, at any point in time, you're going to have 2 of the best 3 players on the court in the NBA. No matter who you play, you're going to have 2 out of the 3 best players on the court, and that gives you a chance to win a championship. Yeah.
The Sixers now sit at 3rd in the East, right behind the Bulls and the Heat. So hopefully we can get back up to that number 1 slot where we were last year and where we were prior to Joel Embiid getting COVID. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of James Harden, man, this guy has been balling. It's so exciting to watch him play. He picked up his first triple-double in yesterday's game, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 16 assists, 5 steals, just an all-around amazing game. Let's watch how he got there.
A little bit strong on the mid-range jump shot. The New York Knicks are second to last in pace. Harden with good hands defensively. Here's Maxey into the front court for Philadelphia. Harden downhill. Great dime to Embiid. Embiid was almost giddy a couple of nights ago during that game against Minnesota. Gets the drop on the trailer. Look at this, Doris. Taking on the opponent's best scorer, too, at the other end of the floor. Speaks to his competitiveness. Got a hand up on Harden, and sometimes it just doesn't matter. This one does count. Another 3-ball by James Harden. Look at him now. Off the drag screen, it's Harden. Pocket pass, Embiid, and one counted. A lethal combo platter taking form and shape here. I think there's a mushroom cloud above the key there where that contact happened. 33.
All right. So this went on and on and on. It was so nice to see him really just ball out. Now he becomes the first player with 15 points and 10 assists in a half since Allen Iverson in 2006. How stupid do you think the people that said that this was a bad trade feel right now, Sean?
They feel pretty bad.
Right.
They feel pretty bad. I mean, again, a lot of people don't like James Harden because they say he dribbles too much or he goes to the foul line and hunts for fouls. But if it's on your team, you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. They didn't like his style of play. But now that they're like, there's so many Philadelphia fans that I spoke to on the radio and on different shows that said, I hate how he plays. I hate what he does. He's on your team now and you love it. That's right. The difference. Yeah, you hate how other players do certain things. Yeah, you hate LeBron. You hate this guy. You hate that guy. You hate Patrick Beverly. But if he's on your team and doing it for you, you're going to love it. That's the difference.
Right. I agree. I mean, it's so refreshing to see this work out. And I hope that the people that were not excited about this trade are coming around. I'm starting to see more enthusiasm in the city now that we're seeing it, but we're that kind of city, right? We're kind of negative before we're positive. We have to see the proof has to be in the pudding. So yeah. I'm happy that he's balling out and it looks like a promising team. I'm excited about this. Now, let's talk about this new big three. Because we were literally just talking about Tobias Harris, right? This used to be our big three: Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. Literally a year later, it's completely different. Joel, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey now be included into the big three. Now, Sean, you know I've been a fan of Tyrese since last year, right? I like his spunk. I like his energy. I like his heart. I'm seeing a lot more people be on board with the Tyrese Maxey bandwagon, but I also hear people saying it's too early for him to be part of the big three. What are your thoughts?
This is your big three, right? It is your big three. It's going to be your best. This is going to be your best three players throughout the stretch. I don't like the this is Kareem and Magic stuff. This is Shaq and Kobe.
I see.
Like, you got to win one before you start doing stuff like that. Like, right. I don't crown people until they take the crown, right? So yes, they have all the potential of the world to be a historic big two and a big time big three, but win something first. Let's relax. Like, that's how you get expectations way too high. You're comparing them to people who've won 5 championships. A duo has won 3 in a row, right? Like the two of the best duos of all time. Like, let's relax. I hope it gets there, sure. But, putting that type of pressure on those guys, telling Tyrese Maxey he's going to be one of the greats of all time at 21 years old when he hasn't done squadouche yet. Let's relax. Let's give him time to get better, to get to where he needs. And then we can start crowning people.
I like it. I don't think Tyrese Maxey is shy of the big moment. We've seen that. And I like it. I think he's going to rise to that expectation. And, God willing, he stays healthy and he keeps that enthusiasm. But, it's only been 2 games, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, in the Timberwolves game, Joel had 34, James had 27, Tyrese had 28, right?
What proof?
Wait, I'm showing you the proof. Yesterday, Joel had 37, James had 29, Maxey had 21. I mean, this is going to continue. Maxey's only going to grow and get better.
You gave me 2 games against bad teams, and you're calling that proof?
So you don't think Maxey can keep this up?
So if I'm dating you and I say, well, I haven't cheated on you in a week, so that's the proof in the pudding. I'm not a cheater. What? You got to do it for way longer than that before you get crowned anything.
I don't understand the speculation when it comes to him, right? During the playoffs, I felt like he's one of the only people who showed up energy-wise in the playoffs, and we needed it. When Ben wasn't showing up, when Tobias wasn't showing up, Tyrese showed up.
This isn't speculation. I love the kid. I think he's going to do great. You just don't get crowned until you achieve. right? Like, I'm not going to call you a big three until you win something. I'm not going to call you Kareem and Magic until you win something.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's speculation and I don't love the kid. I don't love Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, he can be the number 3 to a championship team. You got to do it before I crown you. I believe you can, but you're not getting crowned until you do it.
Okay. We'll watch him do it. I got the jersey.
I hope he does.
You see, I'm ready for it. And it kind of boggles my mind when it comes to him, because some people didn't think he should start. Now he shouldn't be a part of the big 3. It's like, man, this kid is balling out. He's 21 years old, man. Let him have his flowers. Let him start. Be happy for him. Let him revel in the thought of being in a big 3 with James Harden and Joel Embiid.
I'm happy. I just, I'm going to take it slow, because when you throw these big expectations out and then the person doesn't live up to these like Magic, Kareem worthy expectations, then you get mad and say you didn't live up to it. Like, he doesn't need that type of pressure.
Okay.
It's not necessary.
That's fair.
Let him be great in his own right.
Okay. Ben Simmons. Aren't we glad we got rid of this situation? Because apparently now he has a back injury. Now, the Nets coach is saying that it's not really an injury. He's saying it's more like soreness and tightness in his back. He's experienced it before. He's trying to get into playing condition. He hasn't played since June, July. Obviously, he's not game ready at this point, and now he's dealing with the back injury. I think it's a little suspect that along with this report came the conversation of he may not be ready for that March 10th game that we're anticipating between Brooklyn and Philadelphia. What do you think this is about? Because I feel like this is Ben not wanting to face Philadelphia again in this game.
I am unlike most people in Philadelphia. I think he does play on March 10th.
Okay.
I think he comes back. I mean, listen, he has to come back at some point, right? That's just plain and simple. He's a 25-year-old kid who needs to play basketball, so he's not going to just wait forever. But I do think he comes back. I think they said it was regular soreness, but yes, they said he may not play March 10th, but they also said they wouldn't count him out to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on which report you believe. Of course, the Philadelphians believe the report that says he's never going to play, and he never wants to play, and he's a chicken. You know what I mean? And the people in Brooklyn are like, no, I'm gonna believe the reports that say he's coming back this week. I think Ben comes back before the March 10th game, and he's just gonna play. Now, how well he plays, how well he deals with the pressure, who knows? But I do think, and again, I'm not getting this from a particular source, but I think
right. Well, Philly Twitter definitely had a lot to say about this. Here's one tweet. Why was anybody surprised when they saying Ben Simmons dealing with a back issue? He don't have a spine. Really? I would need the grammar in this tweet to kick off a notch, though.
That's Twitter. It's all right.
Right. Okay, let's get into plays this week. Very excited about the plays this week. James Harden will take on the Knicks in the first Philly home game. 7:30 Wednesday. Now, we just played them, but to be honest, Sean, I didn't like how close this game was. The Knicks are 12th in the East. The fact that the game was this close, I just felt like it made me a little nervous about that one particular game.
They shouldn't. They suck. They'll lose.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. They're not good. Why is it that they hung in there the whole game?
Because sometimes you take the foot off the pedal. That's all. You don't have to worry about the Knicks. The Cavaliers are a good squad, so you'll see a competition there. But again, they don't have any stars. They don't have anybody who sticks out. So your main stars will be able to get it done there. It's the Heat game is going to be your first real test to see where this team is. He's the number one team out there. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. Right. And they have a solid foundation of championship type basketball. So that is the first game where you get to say, okay, James. Okay, Joel, all that free throw shooting you've been doing when you've been getting to the line a historic amount of times, you're not going to get those calls in Miami. And no, you're not going to get dumb fouls by the Heat because they're smarter than that. So you're really going to see what those two can do and who's going to be the real supporting cast, because that's what they're going to do. When playoff time comes and you face teams like that, Joel, James, get yours. Well, who else? Can Tyrese get buckets then? When they tighten up and say, no, we're taking Tyrese away, we're taking Tobias Harris away. Now can you win? So that's the first game in Miami that's going to make me say, okay, now I can make some judgments on what this team is going to be.
I agree. Absolutely agree. So exciting times, Sean. The James Harden era has begun.
Are you going to be in the stands? I know you go to almost all these games.
You know what? I think I might come out. I was feeling some type of way about COVID. I've only been to the games in like private sections, like the suites and stuff like that, or the boxes.
Oh, fancy. My bad, big money. My bad, big money.
I haven't been in the crowd. I'm not ready to be in the crowd.
Nah, you too good for that. I get it.
No, I was in the crowd. I think last playoffs when they first lifted the restrictions. Mm-hmm. And I felt crazy, Sean. The guy next to me was coughing. He had no mask on. The person behind me was drinking a beer. He looked like he had COVID. I was like, I can't be in the stands anymore. My cousin was drunk. He was drinking, saying hello to everybody, talking to everybody. I said, sir, you talking to all these people. They may have COVID.
That's how it'll be.
So we'll see. I might be out there with my mask on just to see the beard up close and personal.
Okay. And you got March 10th. So
yes. And I got March 10th, which I don't think Ben will be playing because I think he's scared. But we'll see. Scared money don't make no money. And thank you, Sean Bell, for joining us. How can they find you?
Sean Bell Live everywhere.
All right, we're here every Monday, 1:45 at R&B. We go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Mina Say What. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching The Playbook. I'm your host, Mina Say What, and you got something you want to talk about next week? You can always hit me up on social media at Mina Say What, and make sure you join us 1:45 next Monday on R&B Philly's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you then.